There you go.
There we go.
We live now.
So the House just passed a bill that will allow the melon felon to avoid and disregard court orders.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm trying to say, I don't understand why nobody is talking about this. It's hidden inside the ugly, big, ugly, audacious bill. There's a poison pill.
So you're talking about the so-called big, beautiful bill act that ain't that big and beautiful?
They can put lipstick on a pig. Yeah, they can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. So in that bill is a clause that will undo nearly every judicial decision against Trump that he does not like.
Yeah, that's going to be the nail in the coffin for American democracy.
So wait, so as our friends over at What a Day podcast asked a few days ago, is it time to leave Trump's America?
Y'all know that me and Halsey left the U.S. of A in 2022, and we've been living in Lisbon, Portugal ever
since. Exactly. And we've got permanent residency in Mexico as well. As a matter of fact, let me introduce ourselves. Look, my name's Halsey.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel, and we talk about life abroad. We help folks who look like us. Who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even abroad.
Abroad is a good thing, and early is even better.
All right, sweetie. All right. So what are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk about, is it time to leave Trump's America?
All right. Look, y'all. So I already said What a Day did a video, and that is called Should Trump Leave America? So they did that podcast and they asked the question, is it time? There's a link to that video in the description below. On that podcast, she interviewed Yale historian Marcy Short.
And she's also married to Timothy Snyder, who wrote On Tyranny. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. It might be a little late, but still, you need to check it out.
No, you need to read it. It's a short read. It's an easy read, and I will put a link in the description below after this live. So if you're watching from the future, hey. All right. Hopefully the link is already down there, but we'll see. All right. So I will do this as soon as we go dark. So all right. So she is married to Timothy Snyder, who is the author of On Tyranny. And they, along with their colleague, Jason Stanley, all studiers or historians in authoritarianism, they left for Canada.
Yeah, so you need to ask yourself, is it time for Black folks to leave America?
Right. So this live stream is a continuation of that conversation, and we're asking the question, is it time for Black folks to leave America? But first, if you're new to our channel, then you might not know. Back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call, y'all. We got a wake-up call. We looked at our money, and it looked crazy.
It was crazy. Really. No joke. It was crazy.
And if you are trying to leave America ASAP, money might be the thing that is holding you back. Well, look, we got our financial act together, and within 3.5 to 4 years, we went from negative 22,000 over 1.1 million in net worth. Yeah. If we can do that,
you can do it too.
You can do that too. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, please subscribe. We know that 50% of the folks who are watching our channel are not subscribed, and we are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers because we know that this is information that our community needs to see. All right.
Give it a thumbs up, y'all.
This is information that our community needs to see.
Give it a thumbs up, y'all. Come on, help YouTube.
So for those of you who are coming to our meetup on the June 16th and June 17th, look, the deadline, if you are already planning to come, but you have not purchased your ticket, the deadline for those tickets is next Friday. All right. I've just talked to the vendor. We cannot extend it any further. It is next Friday.
We've got almost 100 folks descending on Lisbon.
Yep.
In the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. All right. So let's get started. And then we'll say hello to the folks who are in the chat. Now, I thought I had done a poll, but I don't see it. So hold on one second. And let me see if I can do this right quick. You know, it's interesting because when you try to do it ahead of time, it acts like it doesn't want to work. So I'm going to do it really simply here. Yes, no, start poll. Did it. All right. So let's talk about what just passed, because you know, what concerns me is the things that they are not saying, But let's talk about what all of you all need to know, and then and probably already do know a little bit of. So number one is, because this did pass the House. It passed the House by one vote. That means it's going on to the Senate. If you remember Schoolhouse Rock, for those of you who are old enough to have actually had Schoolhouse Rock, we had Schoolhouse Rock because we had laws saying that there could only be a certain amount of entertainment for children. It had to be counterbalanced by a certain amount of education for children on TV.
So y'all remember that song, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. I don't remember the rest. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and it's a little bit past your time, because this was like before your time. Like
no, it wasn't.
No, it was. Yeah, it was, because you were too old. Like it came out when I was a kid. You were a teenager.
I was singing it to my kids.
Oh,
or my kid. Or maybe not. Maybe I was singing it to my little sister.
You were singing it to somebody.
My little sister. She's the same age as you.
That's right. That's right. All right. So there have been deep cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. So y'all know so what passed on Thursday, $700 billion taken out of Medicaid, $700 billion. And I want to say 250 to 300 billion out of SNAP, which is basically food stamps. Why'd they do this?
Because they're just hateful. They just, because of white supremacy, because, Black communities are disproportionately rely on Medicaid and SNAP. And these cuts could lead to significant losses in health care coverage and increased food insecurity.
It is absolutely asinine and ridiculous. And here's the thing. This is why I'm so concerned, because y'all know my dad just passed away, but my mom is still in assisted living. And she is in assisted living because there is Medicaid. Medicaid is helping pay for that. We could not afford all of that on our own. So it's really concerning, right? Plus, on top of that, they're adding a work requirement. As if they don't realize, well, no, I don't know if they realize or not. I'm going to say they do realize, and they just don't give a damn. That half the folks, well, not half the folks, but a good portion of the folks who are on Medicaid either are taking care of somebody who has a disability, or that person themselves has a disability, or that child has a disability. These are the folks who are on Medicaid. And these fools don't even realize that Medicaid is what is propping up the ACA.
I don't think they care.
Obamacare.
I don't think they care.
No, I mean their supporters. The supporters do care, because the supporters use it. And they want you to get your government hands off of their ACA. You can cut Obamacare all you want, but get your government hands off that ACA.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is. That's what it is. So, all right. Number 2, what are they doing?
Tax cut favoring the wealthy. Talk about how we could take advantage of these.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about how we can take advantage of these tax cuts. All right. So a permanent increase in the estate tax exemption, allowing for couples to actually give $30 million to their offspring without tax consequences. Now, I know that the majority of Black folks don't have $30 million to give, but whatever we have to give, we need to be given that without tax consequences. Right? So So that part is good. If this thing passes with that part intact, then you need to do what you need to do to make sure that you are passing on generational wealth. Increase deductions for pass-through entities. What is a pass-through entity? An LLC, an S corp, right? So if you've got a little business, and I'm going to tell you, Malcolm X, that's my dad, not the real Malcolm X, but my dad. He always emphasized that we should always have a side hustle so we could write stuff off on our taxes. Seriously. So I have had a business since I've been 22 years old. 22 years old. I didn't have any offspring to write off, to get those tax deductions. Right. I didn't own any property to get those tax deductions. But look, I have been an entrepreneur nearly all of my life. And so he's like, okay, we're going to call this an official business, and this is what we're going to do. And so if there are increased deductions, then you need to figure out if there is some way in your lifestyle that you can claim some of these deductions. So for us, because we have this YouTube channel, almost all travel is tax deductible. Right? Exactly. They also raised the cap on state and local tax deductions to $40,000. Now, for most of us, that's not going to make a difference. But if you are living in California, New York, Chicago, some of these very, very high income tax states, and you are a very high earner, like over 500,000 or something like that, this will affect you. This will definitely affect you. I thought that he had gotten rid of all of it because I know the blue states were really pissed at him.
Oh, yeah.
About this, and they've been arguing up and down, up and down. They call it the SALT tax because it's state and local tax, SALT, state and local tax. And, for us, coming from Colorado, this wasn't that big of a deal. It just wasn't, Colorado taxes were not high enough for it to make a major difference on our taxes. But had we lived in California, this would have been major.
Lost, yeah.
Right? This would have been major. So the impact on Black Americans.
With the median Black household, wealth significantly lower than that of white households, these tax benefits are less accessible to Black families.
Yeah.
Exacerbating existing wealth disparity.
Exactly. However, this is an opportunity, and that's how we should look at it. All right. So let's take a break right there. And
we're going to see who's out there.
And we'll see who is in the chat. All right.
See who's out there.
Let's see. So we're going to start with the members. So, hey, Allison. We just spent 45 minutes to an hour talking to our Utopian members. And we do that every Sunday before we go live. We just sit back, we do it behind the scenes. They were putting up with me putting makeup on
stuff off.
And all of that stuff. And we were just having a chat about what's going on in the world. And then, specific questions about how things look here in Portugal, right, CK? So we love that. Hey, Dr. Sanji. Hey, Wanda, good to see you. Yes, Lee is in the house. Hey, Greta, good to see you again. Again. Good to see you. Hey, Lee, we missed you. Unless you have a different name in Zoom than you have online. So we missed you. Hey, Valerina and Wanda is in the house. Who else? We've got Gwen and Derek Travels. Peggy is in the house. Shanora. Who else do we've got? Greta.
Ballerina.
Yep. Said hello to Ballerina. Greta is in the house. Sherry, PhD. There we go. Is in the house.
Greta 2.0.
Greta 2.0. Hey, Tana Rose. Good to see you. I know Antonia Vasquez is in the house. Great to see you. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you too. Hey, bye, Pacific Northwest. Okay. I'm glad you're ready to rock, baby.
Bezel Guru.
Is that how you pronounce it? Bezel Guru? Okay. All right. We love it. As Action VJ said, hit that like button as you come in. Hey, Laurent. LaRonda is in the house. Healing Girl, good to see you. Killer Queen.
Killer Queen.
TJ, New Life Curator, Yakota, good to see you. All right, y'all. Good to see you. And we now have a new member. Let's go over and pull that up. Hey, Ashira, thank you, thank you, thank you. So how it works is if you are a regular member, every single Sunday, we're going to get together behind the scenes and just chitty chat, y'all. Just chat. Ask us questions, whatever you want to do. Chat about the news of the day or what have you. We'll tell you what's going on in our lives and you see as we're setting up and all those kinds of things. And then if you are a Utopian legend, then you are welcome on to our channel every other Thursday to discuss money, life abroad, etc. Yes. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So that's how it's going to go. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Changes to the education funding. Now, this is serious, y'all.
Okay. So the bill ends federal direct subsidized loans for undergraduate students. It increases eligibility requirements for Pell Grants. It eliminates the Secretary of Education's ability to regulate based on gainful employment.
So we are already overrepresented when it comes to student loan debt. And they have just decided to end direct subsidized loans for undergraduate students. Like that's the underpinning of financial aid. Mm-hmm. So now people are going to have to get unsubsidized loans, which means they will be racking up interest from day one. See how they do? See how they do? And then, as if it's not bad enough, they want to increase the eligibility for those who qualify for Pell Grants. I got a Pell Grant. My mom and dad both were working, and I qualified back in the 80s for a Pell Grant. This is how crazy it has gotten in these United States, where people who are just solidly middle class, yet tuition has gone up to the point where only upper middle class and very wealthy people can afford to pay out of pocket for this stuff. Let's keep it real, right? And at the same time that they are not subsidizing the schools, so then the schools have to raise their, I'm writing a Substack about this. Did I put it out yet? I don't think I did. There was a time when the United States actually subsidized education. Can you open that window? It's kind of hot in here. They really did. Before we started going to school, they subsidized education. They believed in subsidizing education. And back in those days, my mom's tuition at a public school was $50 a semester. And that was not expensive. It was not. It was, we could do the math and see what it would be today, taking into account inflation. But I remember her saying, yeah, we could come up with that. We did. We came up with it. $50 a semester. And then if you had to get a student loan, guess what the interest rate was, guys?
0%.
0%. Those private loans today are adjustable. That is asinine. It is exploitive. What kind of country says we don't want an educated population? You call yourself the best country in the world, and yet you don't want your people educated. We've got to stop believing the lie. We have got to stop believing the lie. America is a branding propaganda bullshit machine. That's what it is. And we have bought into that bullshit. And the rest of the world has bought into it too.
But they're waking up.
They are waking up. Some are waking up, but not quickly enough. And so in Trump's America, if I were a parent today who had a college age student, I would tell my college age kid, you're going to school outside of America or you pay. I'm not doing no parent student loan, right? I'm not co-signing nothing. I'm not doing any of that. Why? Because you don't even get an ROI on this, right? The ROI on a 4-year degree. Think about like if your kid wants to be a teacher, noble profession, and they're going to get $100,000 in debt to make $40,000 a year. Are you kidding me right
now? Yeah.
Please. So no. All right. And then lastly, because we talked about the first one, the first thing that he did with this bill that was hidden was that hidden clause that nobody is talking about. I've heard it on one place and I've triple checked it, so I know it's in there. I know it is in there. And that is that little clause that gets rid of judicial oversight on the executive branch. Here's what's slick. This is what they've done. When it comes to cases where there have been no money put forward, is the layman's term. So in other words, most cases involving civil rights and stuff like that against the government, the people who are making the case don't put money forth because usually they're poor, right? They're immigrants, they're this, they're that, right? They don't put money forth. If you are doing this on your own, then you got to put money forth, as a bond or something like that, right? But they're not putting money forth, and it's usually waived. That is the standard practice. It's waived because the government has done an injustice, is the assumption, or is being accused of doing an injustice. Well, he's saying in those kind of cases, just those kind of cases, we are going to say that the courts don't have any jurisdiction. So I can basically get rid of every single human being in America that I don't want to live here, including citizens. Yes. That's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, they have deregulated, which they have been trying to do since the 90s, environmental protections. The legislation rescinds numerous green energy tax credits and promotes deregulation in energy policies. Now, we know that if you look at the most polluted places in America, who lives there?
Black people.
Who?
Black people. Black communities.
Right? Flint, Michigan. Yeah. Flint, Michigan. Think, right? Like it's like if there's going to be if there's going to be a dumping site, a toxic dumping site next to some housing, it's going to be some housing of POCs and most likely Black folks. Right? We know that. And this exacerbates, our health issues in a time when they're taking away healthcare, when they're taking away health insurance. Why are y'all fighting to stay in a place that does not want you? Now, I said that we were responding and continuing the conversation from What a Day. And the question was, should we leave Trump's America?
Is it time to leave Trump's America? Yeah.
So let's see what they're talking about. Give me a second. We're going to share screen.
What if you do? And you could. I had a lot of questions. So I called up Professor Marcy Shore to ask. She's also the author of The Ukrainian Night, An Intimate History of Revolution. Professor Shore, welcome to What a Day.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So we should state up front that you have work in Toronto, which makes it easier to stay, but I know it wasn't an easy choice for everyone in your family to agree to this. Can you talk about why you personally made the decision not to come back to the United States?
It was really a very long and processed decision. These offers from the monk school had been percolating, for a few years. It's very likely we would have accepted them otherwise. I had long been anxious to get my kids out of the States because of the gun violence, even independent of who was the president. New Haven is maybe half an hour from Sandy Hook.
To the woman over 50
sorry.
who's nervous to start again, we know how it feels. But don't worry. You don't need to jump into anything intense.
The massacre in
So
Sandy
now you
Hook
see what
happened
my
when my
commercials
kids were
are.
small. It's haunted me since then. And so that's, there were other reasons. I, after the November elections, felt like I definitely did not want to bring my kids back to this. My husband felt differently. Had he been alone, he would have gone back to fight. He's much more committed, and a patriot that way.
Right. Your husband, Timothy Snyder, he's a Yale historian and author of the 2017 book on tyranny, which I know I have had so many friends, both in 2017 and right after the most recent election, giving it out to people, buying it for people to give out as a guide to resist the Trump administration. Can you talk a little bit about those conversations that you had at home about this?
Yes, I'm an erotic catastrophist by nature. Tim is not. But my very strong impulse in November 2016 was, to get out the next day. I'm a historian. I'm a historian of totalitarianism in Eastern Europe. I'm a historian of the 1930s. It's not that you know what will happen, but you know what can happen. And we really, really vacillated, at that time, about whether or not to leave. But that Wednesday after the election, I was lying on the floor of my office at Yale, throwing up into a plastic bag. And I had a seminar to teach. And I thought, there's no point in going to the seminar. Nobody's going to show up. But I pulled myself up off the floor. I walked across campus. I went to the class. And not only was everybody there, but they were there early and they were waiting for me, and they were looking at me with these bloodshot eyes. And the first student who spoke said, "Professor Shore, is it going to be okay?"
What do these folks know that we don't know? What do they know that we don't know? And is it going to be okay? I find it very interesting that this woman who lives, within spitting distance of Sandy Hook was like, I don't want my kids to grow up here. I don't want my kids to grow up here. And yet, when I was watching that video and making comments in the comment section, I like, we out, and then I was reading other folks were talking about, look, 90% of Americans can't afford to leave the country. And they were like talking about the fear and the defeatism is what I was reading, right? Misinformation, right? And all of this stuff.
And access. And,
right? Totally misinformed. And so, my question is, okay, well, how many Black Americans can afford to leave the country? And if not, why not? And so when we did the research, what we found was that, yeah, they're right. 10 to 15% at this point are the amount of Black Americans who probably are in the financial position to leave, all right, to relocate permanently abroad. But with some life changes, with some lifestyle changes, that number could grow rapidly. All right. So if it's about Social Security income alone,
yep.
For retirees, yeah, you can do that depending on the destination.
Yeah. Or also, digital nomads or remote workers, they're more viable today than ever.
Exactly. And so even though the median Black household wealth is only 24,000, we know that there are a lot of us that are in a position to do a lot more if we just are willing to give up some things, right? I'm not saying that there's not sacrifices that have to be made, right? As I told y'all, 3D, I was trying to get our side hustle challenge, our next side hustle challenge page done before tonight or before today, because it's 9:00 at night here, y'all. And I didn't get it done, but we are launching the next side hustle challenge, y'all. Okay, because it's about the money. We know. We are launching the next side hustle challenge and the last time we did it in 5 weeks. This time we're going to extend it to 10 weeks. So 10 weeks from idea to launch, to making money. If you do the stuff that's involved, all right? If you do the stuff that's involved, if you do the work, it's 10 weeks. 10 weeks from idea to your clients, all right? So anyway, digital nomads, remote workers, all of that stuff, right, are more viable today. So even though 10 to 15% of Black Americans today are the only ones that can afford to move out of country, I believe that with just minimal effort, that could go up to 20 to 25%. Mm-hmm. I really do. I really do. And whether it is temporary, whether you are going to keep a home base and just kind of bop around, or whether you're going to move permanently, either way, I believe 25% or more. And I'm going to tell y'all, look, we have got to prepare places in other countries for the rest of our folks, y'all. I'm not sure that we are going to recover, that the United States is going to recover from this within our lifetime. I'm just not. I hope that it doesn't get as bad as I think it's going to get. Yeah. Like she said, the historian, Marcy, she said, we don't know how bad it can get, but we know how, we don't know how bad it's going to get.
We know it can get bad.
But we know how bad it can get, right? From history.
Yeah.
From history. We know. I just watched Casablanca on the plane ride coming back here. I just watched it. All right.
And there's different ways that you can do this. There's different ways that you can leave.
Exactly.
Orange turds America. It's just true. It's,
So number one, trial year abroad, right? Some of you are in situations where you can take a sabbatical. Some of you are in situations where you can ask for mental health leave, even for a year. Check your employee handbook, especially those of you who work at big corporations and or the government. Check your employee handbook, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
look at places that you can go that don't need a visa
today,
or you can get an easy visa.
Like
Mexico, Portugal, Panama.
Right? The places that we always mention. Look, there's a reason why we always mention these places. I know what American sensibilities are like, right? We know.
And I think Africa is trying to change a lot of things too.
Yeah.
It's not a sleeper.
No, it's definitely not a sleeper. You just have to have a little bit more energy. If you're looking for the really soft life and a soft landing and stuff like that, some countries in Africa may be a little bit much as far as what you got to go through to find comfort and joy. All right. So no visa or easy visas. We just mentioned a couple of places. You can just leave with a passport and some savings and a plan.
Have a plan. You have to have a plan.
Right. You can sublet your U.S. home. Right. Travel with carry-ons and just a couple stuff. Put some of your stuff in storage or put it in the shed and lock it up. Do what you need to do. Right. Mm-hmm. Put it in grandmama's garage. Lock up some stuff. You could stay in Airbnbs on a monthly basis. And if you decide to stay in a place longer than a month, talk to the Airbnb person off the platform and see if they will lease it to you for another 2 months at a discount, right? Because they'll probably be able to make more money leasing it to you for those 2 months off a platform, right? Because Airbnb takes a lot of money. I think they take like 50% or something. I don't know, but it's not like 20 or 30%, or maybe it is. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's a chunk. That's what I do know. If you have a pension or something like that you can take wherever you go, don't think that we've talked to so many people who have pensions and Social Security, but they're thinking they still need $100,000 a year to live. And so they're trying to figure out how they can make some more money.
They can make more money to have a whole lot more money than what they really need to make a move.
Mm-hmm. Or just to not work. Right? As opposed to saying, this is what I have. How can I devise a life around what I have? That's what they should be doing, right? That's what they should be doing. All right. And then lastly, and then we'll get to countries that you should consider. So the digital nomad route, there's like we said, we've got long-term residency in Portugal. We've got permanent residency in Mexico. We're seeking long-term residency in Panama, if not permanent. So we'll see what we qualify for. But another way to do it is just to bop around. Like if you don't qualify necessarily for any of the long-term stay visas, but you've got that passport and you're willing to bop around, this is a way to get out now. And even if you have a family, this is still doable, y'all. Okay. Even if you've got kids who are school age, this is still doable. There is no bigger learning experience than experiencing other cultures around the world.
Yes.
And we have talked to too many to count parents throughout, over the last 3 years who are doing various types of schooling, whether it is half online and then half with a homeschooling place or homeschooling groups around, or they're doing world schooling and unschooling and all of these other different programs. So you probably know what's best for your kid better than the people at the public school. So don't let school age kids be the thing that says, I can't go. Right?
Yeah.
So if you work online and you make USD, and you move to a place that has a lower cost of living, like Mexico or Colombia or Panama, right? Portugal, yes, but the unfortunate part is that the euro is worth more than the dollar right now. So that's going to bring up your cost of living. That's the unfortunate part now. As we said, Rick and I, we pay attention to that, and we transfer huge chunks of money when it's the best time to transfer it, so we don't feel the up and down fluctuation of the conversion rate.
It's hard to do the month-to-month thing.
Exactly. Healthcare abroad, y'all. Healthcare abroad is better. There is no reason to see. We hear every single time we do a best cities video about best international cities for Black Americans to move to, the number one question is, what about healthcare? What about healthcare? What about your healthcare? How's it going? How much are you paying? And what are you getting? How often do you get to talk to your doctor? And how long when you get to talk to her or him? Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you're lucky. Right?
If you have something go wrong to where it's going to cost you a lot of money to take care of, are you ready to go broke? Or
because that's the reality. That's the reality. We know 2 to 3 people now that have gone through major surgeries here in Portugal, and all of them sing the healthcare system here, sing their praises. They're all female, interestingly, but all at different income levels, different ages, from in their 30s to early 40s to 60s. Okay. So, with serious stuff going on. And what we tell people is, by and large, like any place that we would suggest has good as or better healthcare than the United States. And even if it's just good as, it's still going to be less expensive. So for instance, I am, getting ready for my annual exam, which I should have had about a month ago, but my daddy died, so I got distracted. I've already had the battery of tests for the physical. And as we said last week, and I might have said before, without insurance, those battery of tests, I don't know, I would say would come to about $150 to $200 ish. without insurance. With insurance, I think I paid maybe 78, maybe 100. I don't know, something like that. And we're talking about like when I would get a physical in the United States, it would be like 3-4 tests, tops, including the blood test. Maybe blood test, pee in a cup, and then maybe you do 2 other tests.
Yeah.
Right here, I had 2 EKGs, 2 different types of EKGs. I don't even know what a Doppler EKG is. I don't know what it is, but they did it. And I say, how does it sound, doc? My heart sound good with everything doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? I had 2 different sonograms.
I think the Doppler is the valve opening and closing in your heart.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. I don't know. All I know is the doctor said this is something that she wants to see. And so not because this is standard. This is compulsory. This is compulsory. So all of these tests. So when we hear about folks letting healthcare be the thing that keeps them in America, the thing that I have to say is, if you want to get healthy, leave America. If you want to have food that doesn't have poison in it, leave America.
If you don't want to go to the hospital and come back and be broke or headed to
that part,
financial ruin,
leave America. Right. All right. I am marking these questions. I know we've been talking for a bit now. Yeah, 41 minutes. Good to see you guys in the chat. Y'all are talking, but I'm looking for the cues in front of the questions and comments. And Albania allows you to stay for a year. Okay. And I want to say Georgia was allowing people to stay for 2 years. I don't know if that is still the case. Okay, Reg. If this is about Portugal, that's a lie.
500,000? Ooh.
That's a lie. I think that's a question. Anything else on this? Oh, that's number 5. Okay, let's go back. Digital nomad. Okay, so for the digital nomad visa route, the 3 there's about 5 but I don't know. So Mexico has a 6-month tourist visa. We know that. They were getting kind of itchy about that at one time. Now I'm hearing mixed reviews. A lot of, they'll, depending upon who you are and when you show up, they're going to ask you what you got going on and how long you stay in. So 3D, yeah, we are going to roll that out. And we, from idea to launch. From idea to launch, that's going to be our side hustle challenge. Hey, Maria, good to see you. Happy Memorial Day. I forgot tomorrow's Memorial Day.
Yes.
I totally forgot, y'all, because, there's no holiday here. Although today there was a parade that went down our street. It looked like religious stuff, like maybe something. What happens after Easter? Is there some Catholic religious stuff or something that happens after Easter? I don't know. All right. Hi, Halician. Portugal just had an election. Okay. Chega, far right, is gaining power. Should this be a concern for the future if you want to migrate there? Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It concerns me. They still, they got in second place, but they're all alone. That's the problem. And this is a parliamentary style of government, which means that there's not just 2 parties, right? There's many parties and there's coalitions. And so the left-leaning to moderate coalition is still banding together against Chega. So far, so good. I'm actually more concerned about Putin than I am about Chega at this point, because he just bombed Kiev. He just bombed the shit out of Kiev. And didn't Kamala Harris say, if Trump is president, that Putin would be sitting in Kiev?
Mm-hmm.
And he bombed Kiev this weekend, like bombed the hell out of it, as they were supposed to be having some kind of peace talks or some such. It's just, anyway. All right, healthcare will be approximately $1,500 monthly between my retirement and Medicare. I think it will drop slightly with Medicare. That's asinine. That is asinine. $1,500 a month. I don't have my phone. I got to do the math. Give me this. I got to do the math. Let me take that out. I don't need that. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Let's see. 1,500 times 12. $18,000 a year. And you ain't even sick. That is crazy. That's crazy. Yo, why are we doing this? It's not like America is going to do a 180 anytime soon. We know that. We know that. So I don't understand what people are holding on to. I just don't. I understand that the value of the US dollar goes much further abroad in most places. Yes. Do you think we will ever be able to disassociate from the USD entirely? Else we are still dependent on the US. So, I mean, we're US citizens. So the only way to divest or disassociate with the USD entirely is to give up citizenship. I mean, governments, that's another story. But individuals don't have to have anything to do with the dollar. You know, there are normal people who are not superstars or anything like that who have denounced citizenship. It's not a free endeavor. It costs money to denounce. But you can't denounce until you have a home state, right? So you've got to have some place where you've got a passport, where you could get a passport, where you're a citizen. Otherwise, you're stateless, right? And so, yeah, you know, let's just say you're living in Thailand and you decide that you don't want to be an American citizen anymore, and you can get a passport someplace else. Then yeah, you wouldn't have anything to do with the USD. The thing about it is that, you know, a lot of American companies pay a higher salary than a local company would pay. So you can take that higher salary to a place where there's a lower cost of living. That's the deal. And even when you have an upside down conversion rate, as we do here in Portugal, the cost of living here is still so much lower, you know, than what we're used to, especially in LA. It's probably about 60 to 70% cheaper, that even with the conversion rate, we're still ahead. Question company president Carolyn Levitt called herself a Maha Mom. What does that even stand for? I have Make America Hate Again. I have no idea. Only Real Talk. I have no idea. Please add me somehow. Okay, 3D. I'm not sure what you're asking to be added to. When we launch the Side Hustle Challenge, there will be tickets available, or you know, you can sign up, right? So I'm not sure. I'm waiting on the next side hustle too. Okay, good. All right, y'all. You know, got a lot going on. I really did intend to have that page ready. It's almost ready. So give me 24 hours or 48 hours. And then we've got the meetup coming up too, trying to get with these vendors and stuff like that, and plan my dad's memorial. So, but we'll get it done. This teacher, hey Ashira, clearly I tapped into the memory passed down of the Third Reich. It feeds neurosis and that readiness to bail for the surviving generations. I mean, you know, some people are like, we're going to stay and fight, and why should you run? And I'm this and that, and FBA and all this other stuff. But it's like, what if Harriet Tubman would have said that? What if she wouldn't have said, no, let's run? I'm just saying. I have a trans nephew who is now dealing with psychic issues. Of course he is, psychiatric, I'm sure. And issues from spine surgery. Oh, now monies for medicine have been removed because he is trans. He will be left to die due to this bill. So wait, but what does the spine surgery and stuff like that have to do? That has nothing to do with the fact that this person is trans. Why does that money go away? See how they do? That's some baloney. I know the advice is to pay down all debt, but maybe it's time to reconsider that thought process in this climate. You can pay more on it out of the US, maybe at least half. Yeah, like I'm not necessarily saying, thank you, Healing Girl, that we have never said that you must pay off all debt before leaving. Right. Even like what we call consumer debt or high interest debt, right? As opposed to a mortgage. We've never said that. We've never made a blanket statement. It's best if you do, but sometimes it's going to be easier if you leave, especially if
lower cost of living.
Exactly. Just as Healing Girl just said. So
spending less money.
Exactly.
Somewhere else.
Exactly.
You can save better. You can, pay bills better. You can pay off your debt better.
But you got to be disciplined, y'all.
You have to be disciplined. You can't go and live the American life somewhere else or spend like you were spending
before, which is the reason why you don't, why you have the debt in the first place, right? Like doing a geographical only works if you take advantage of why you did the geographical, right? Why you left, why you did the geo arbitrage. Because if you do the geo arbitrage and you move to a lower cost of living, you're like, oh shoot, I got all this extra money.
I could buy me this.
Right?
That's when you run into trouble, and then you'll be looking for food banks.
Exactly.
Or trying to get somebody to buy you a ticket back home.
That part.
You got to change your mindset. You have to have a totally different mindset.
That part. So, thank you, baby. So visa options: Mexico, 6-month tourist visa; Portugal, D8 remote. Well, it's the D9 now. Remote work visa. These are just examples. You can Google it, do your chat GPTs, etc. Spain has a digital nomad visa. Croatia. So Croatia and Montenegro.
When they fight each other one time, when we went there, didn't we hear them talk about how they still pissed off at each other. They still pissed off at each other. Beautiful places, though.
They are beautiful.
They are very beautiful places.
But I'm starting to think like every place is different, and the energy that you bring to the place will affect what you think about it. So I'm going to leave Croatia on the list because it was so entirely beautiful when we were there, and the people that we met were lovely. But I just watched a video from some people that I really like, and they instead of doing the 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 days right into Dubrovnik or whatever, they did a month. And then after a month, they were not as happy with it as they were those first few days. So, but that was them and that's us. And so we, with all places, we're saying, go check it out, do the scouting trip the way you need to do it. And then the other place that we know is going to be welcoming for Black Americans is Colombia, which of course is always, always, always on the list. So what countries should Black Americans consider? We talked about Mexico, we talked about Portugal, Panama, and Colombia. So these are the places. This is our tier 1 place, our tier 1 places. Okay. These are the cream of the crop as far as low barriers to entry, relatively speaking, and high amount of Black expats.
And the first one is Mexico. It's close in proximity to the United States. Mm-hmm. It's affordable. No visa needed for 180 days.
Right.
Now.
Today.
Gotta say today.
Right.
Gotta say
today.
Now.
Because, what the melon felon is doing can change everything. All right. Portugal. Safe. Yes. Safe. Progressive. And there is a strong and growing Black expat community. I mean, I tell y'all every single time, every time I go to some meetup, and I mean a local meetup, not like we're having this big meetup, but a little local meetup, there's a bunch of people meeting at this bar or for sangria or whatever. I always meet somebody new that has been here for a minute. And it's like, so we had, I think we told you guys last week, we had pizza and stuff over at our friend's house last week. And I met two couples that have been here as long as we, and I just met them for the first time. Yeah. So there are a lot of us out here, and it's an easy and soft landing. Yeah. Thirdly,
Panama.
Now, what makes it easy is you don't have to worry about the conversion.
You got a conversion. Yeah, the money is the money.
Yeah, they're on the USD, y'all. They're on the US dollar.
US-based economy, pensionado visa.
For those of you who are over a certain age, that pensionado program in Panama is off the chain. It really is. It really is. And so, they give you a card or something, you get discounts all around town and all of that stuff. Like they give you a AARP rollout.
Yeah.
They want you.
You got that that Caribbean culture.
I think that was supposed to be steel drums, y'all. That was Rick doing steel drums.
No, that was my other instrument. The steel drums are the ding, the ding, dong, dong, the ding, dong, dang. You love me.
I do. Colombia. Culture, affordability, Afro-Colombian presence. There are a gang of Black folks. There's Black Colombians, first of all, y'all, right? Like I remember one of my mentees, one of my kids, when I showed her pictures of my Spanish tutor, she's like, why didn't you get real Latinas? I said, they are real Latinas. No, but I mean, real Latinas. I said, they are real Latinas. They are born and raised, and they mama and grandmama born and raised in Colombia, in Venezuela. That's Latina. Really? They're down there? Really? Americans, they don't know because they don't be trying to teach us nothing. All right. Tier 2. Affordable, but less explored. And, for the people who are kind of more adventurous, you might want to consider
Morocco,
Ghana,
South Africa.
I don't think you have to be that adventurous to check out South Africa.
They're not killing the white farmers. They're eating the pets, but they're not killing white farmers.
Like, it is rich to me. It is rich to me that you got a group of people who go to somebody else's house, right? Kicks them out the house. Then when the folks come back and say, you know what? Actually, no. Y'all can stay, but y'all have to stay in the backyard. This is our house.
Come on now.
This is our house.
Come on now.
And now they're like, well, wait a minute. They act like you weren't supposed to be here in the first place.
Let me tell you something. When you have a group of people that own over 78% of the land, I doubt very effing seriously if they are trying to leave that country and go to the United States, where they're going to find, how much land are they going to give them?
I don't know how
if
much.
If they give them anything,
they might.
Them people probably on planes back to South Africa saying, "What the hell?"
No, they're gonna give them the Black farmers' land. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna take land away from the Black farmers.
They own 78% of the land. And some of the stories we heard when we went to South Africa for the very first time, how Black folks you go to school in the morning, your parents go to work in the morning, and when you come home, they load you on a bus and send you to a township.
Your house was gone.
Your house is gone. It's been bulldozed. Yeah, that. Come on, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, these are firsthand stories that we heard the first time we went to South Africa.
And you got a fool sitting there trying to embarrass the South African president, which he did a marvelous job.
That South African president, he was so
diplomacy. He handled it. He handled it without saying you stupid
ass.
You stupid.
MF.
Come on, man. Where you get that shit from?
He went like this. Yeah. Anyway, so what we're trying to do. No, don't be put this.
The South African president said, I ain't never seen that place. Where you get that from? It was from the
Congo.
Come on now. Come on, really?
All right, tier 1. Mexico, Portugal, Panama, Colombia. Tier 2, we got Morocco, Ghana, South Africa. We're talking cultural roots, growing the digital nomad scene.
Keep an eye on Africa, y'all.
Keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on Africa.
And then in Asia, we got Thailand and Vietnam for low cost of living and high expat quality of life. And I haven't been to Vietnam yet. We'll hopefully be able to go at the end of the year. But we have been to Thailand. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's an expat tax. So I think you need to be in the know. But hey, they got American bacon in Thailand. They ain't got American bacon here. It's probably not good enough. It's probably too poisonous. But in Thailand, they had American bacon, and I was eating it up.
And if you need a massage, massage or a new suit.
Massage. Yep. You can get a custom new suit like that.
I was telling my
like
partner the other day. I said, "Yep, you can go. You walk down the street in Thailand. 30 minutes later, you got a brand new suit.
For real though.
If you want one.
For real though. Bespoked. Yeah. Right? All right. Tier 3. Now, these countries, there's going to be some advanced planning required. All right. There's advanced planning required for Portugal too, obviously, but not if you're just coming to do the 3 months that you can stay in the Shenzhen area. All right. So
the first one is France, Spain, Italy.
Yeah.
Did I say that right that time? You always say, would you say Italy?
That's what you say, Italy.
Italy. So
they all of those 3 countries offer long-term stay. All right. And obviously, if you want, they're all in the Shenzhen. So if you want to split up your 3 months, do a month in Portugal, a month in France, a month in Spain, or a month in Italy, right? You can divide up the 3 months between those countries, but it's 3 months and then you got to go. And then you can come back 3 months later. And then the last one on our tier 3 is Brazil. Brazil offers some challenges in some cities, but not all cities in Brazil are created equal. So there's obviously Brazil is the country with the second largest population of Africans from the diaspora on the planet. I don't know if y'all know that. So outside of the continent, the country that has the most amount of African people from the diaspora, per capita, right, is Brazil. And you can tell that by their food. You can tell that by their dance, their music, their culture, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, here in Portugal, we have a huge Brazilian population. Yes. And I love their food. I love their music. And the people, offer so much fun. They really do. They bring the party. Thank you, Black Butterfly. I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Y'all know that all of our super thanks and super chat money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That is our financial independence program for late bloomers. The information for that is in the description below, and I'm sure somebody's probably going to put it in the chat too. We meet every second Saturday for group coaching. And if you need to get your financial act together and you cannot afford it, we don't need a sob story. We don't need any story at all. We're going to trust that if you watch our channel, that with integrity, if you cannot afford to pay, then just send us an email. And if we've got scholarships available, then you can have one.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll make it happen for you.
Dennis Palmore.
Dennis.
Every week.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
You are such a blessing, and we thank you. CUNY in New York, that is one of the public universities up there, y'all, was free until 1976. See? Free, y'all. Free public college was rescinded, by Republicans. Reagan, pushed funding cuts at California public colleges. His education advisor said, we're in danger of producing an educated proletariat. They basically, they realized back in the 70s when everyone was coming up against the war in Vietnam that we got too many educated people up in this mug. These people got too much time to think and learn and offer critical thinking, and they're out here in these streets, and we need them to just sit down in the corner somewhere and shut up. Right? So that and the need, and so part of the result of that was the war on drugs. The other result of that was the defunding of public education. So that by the time I was in college, UCLA, which is public, right? You only had to have a 3.0 to get into UCLA my 11th grade year in high school. I had over a 3.0. I'm going to UCLA, y'all. By senior year, because by this time Reagan had been in for 2 years, by senior year, all of the cuts to financial aid made it so that people were leaving USC, leaving Stanford, leaving these private colleges, flooding the UC system, UC Berkeley, UCLA, right? UCSD, flooding those. And so from 11th grade to 12th grade, it went from 3.0 to 3.8. And look, y'all, I'm just going to tell you, I used to ditch, so I didn't have no 3.8. But I did have like a 3.4, which is why I didn't get kicked out of school. Because he's like, you can have 4.0 if you just showed up. Yeah, but it's boring. Y'all ain't talking. Y'all ain't talking about me. You talk about you trying to teach me all this European history and who beget who and all this nonsense. I ain't interested. But I'll study for the test and pass the test. Anyway, so yeah, that was the deal. That was the deal. And just in that 1 year, this is why elections matter. This is why we must vote. This is why we must stay educated, because we take a vote, we hire someone to be a steward of our tax money, and they screw us. They screw us by taking our tax money and giving it to somebody else, as opposed to pooling all of our tax money together and saying, yeah, we want everybody to have, to be able to do. When they saw all these black folks, all these middle-class black folks and stuff rising up in the 70s and 80s, acting like all uppity Negroes and stuff, they were like, oh, hell no.
No.
Hell no. And so by the time I came around, the 0% interest that my parents paid was 3% for me. And by the time my son came around, it was 6%.
Yeah.
See how they do? This is how they do. So yeah, I've already written an article on the history of that and why it happened and how it happened. It is interesting that here in Europe, nobody said, oh, we can't do this, right? Nobody said that. Nobody looked at their electorate and said, these people they know a little too much. Let's stop educating them. Let's stop making sure that they have health care. Nobody in Europe said that. Now, some may say it's because it's a more homogenous society, but not today. Not today, not in the major cities. It really isn't. And yeah, one could argue that they're trying to cut back, but they haven't eliminated. They haven't even come close.
And they can find all this stuff on your Substack, right?
Exactly. So not my Substack, our Substack.
Our Substack.
That I write for.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So it's Our Black Utopia Substack. So you can find us on we're on Blue Sky, though I haven't really posted there lately. We're on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, right? All right. So myth busting. Let's leave it with this. Myth busting. You have to be rich to leave.
No, you don't. No, it's not about being rich.
Real talk.
It's about being strategic.
Exactly. You don't need $100,000. You just need you need a 6-month plan. All right. Online income or pension and flexibility. Okay. You do not need a whole bunch of money. You just need a plan.
Right.
Cost of living in many places abroad is 50 to 70% less than most major cities in the United States, right? So we can tell you, we told you that was earlier when we were talking to the Utopians before on our. But okay, so we told them, but we've told y'all too. Our monthly nut, not including food and entertainment, is $1,500 or euros per month. Which would be about $1,600 a month. That's utilities. That is our transportation cards, our metro cards, our public transportation cards,
and
our rent, and our cell phones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cable and y'all, cable and high-speed internet and a landline that we don't know the number of and don't even know where to plug into, but but the cable and internet are $38.99. Well, €38.99. High-speed internet and cable. It's basic. We have no movie channels.
No.
I mean, so it's basic cable, but yeah. You can't even get basic cable in a lot of cities for $38, much less with high-speed internet, unless you're on some senior plan or they've got some lower income plan for folks and stuff like that that you might have to qualify for.
But folks, if you want to go to the movies,
how much does that cost?
How much does that cost?
Right?
€5.
Oh, here, not there.
No, I know. I'm saying, how much does it cost? If you want to go to the movies, I paid €5 to go to a movie.
What was the last thing you guys saw?
The last one I saw was
Bad Boys
2,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
6 or 7, but
so the men's group, there's a black men's group, and y'all went to go see Bad Boys.
We went to see Bad Boys together last time, and yeah, €5.
You hear that, y'all? €5. So you don't have to give up your latte. A latte is what €1.85.
You can grab your beer on the way in, and that's what
€2.50, right? You can get an espresso.
Thing of popcorn,
right? Espresso is 85 cents.
You don't have to go broke.
Exactly.
To have a good time, to live a good life, a healthy life. You don't have to go broke.
Exactly. So what leaving means for Black liberation, because that's what it's all about. We want y'all to be free. And as much as we can be free on this planet, right? There is something to be said, and I don't think that we realize it until after the fact. There is something to be said to not have to put on the armor that we have to put on every single day when we leave our homes to deal with the potential Karens and Chads out there who think that their job, their life's mission is to police our actions, right? To not have to put on that armor to deal with so-and-so in the cubicle next to you who says all that crap. And you're just supposed to say, oh, but no offense, right?
So the biggest thing to me, the most important thing to me, what I've learned out of this journey is giving yourself opportunities, giving yourself choices.
Yeah.
To do things that you want to do, to live in places you want to live, to experience different cultures.
Yeah.
And everything that you want to do.
Yeah. Because it's interesting to me. There's a gentleman, and I just reached out to him via text for one of our clients. I know I've got 2 clients I owe y'all emails. I'm working on them, y'all. After this, I will get them out. But anyway, so I sent him a text, and we had talked to him. He's our car broker, and we had talked to him before we left. As we were selling Rick's our cars, right? So I went and talked to him, and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe y'all moving to Portugal. I wish," right? He was saying, I was just thinking the other day, is this it? Is this all there is? I don't want you to get to a certain age and say, is this all there is? Right? Life has to be more than just a hustle and grind and you see what she movies, $50 for 2 people. I know. Like, so the theater in Denver that had the shooting about 15 years ago, right? The Aurora shooting. That was my favorite movie theater.
That was our go-to theater.
That's the one that we went to like 90% of the time, unless it wasn't playing there, because they had real butter for the popcorn. and it happened to be less expensive. At the time, you could do the matinee for like $6. Okay. And then popcorn was a little bit less expensive than like Regal and places like that. Last time I was in LA, like I had my feelings were hurt. It was matinee and it was still like $15. Something crazy. Talking about uppity, some YT dude at the store heard me talking to a lady, then felt ballsy enough to comment on my big words. I told him the words were big because his vocabulary was small.
That's so true.
I love that, LaRonda. I love that. Right? Like, oh, you're so articulate.
Then I probably went a little ghetto on him and said, miss me with that shit.
First of all, who are you? Why are you even talking to me?
Why are you in my space? Why are you in my conversation?
Right? Why are you even talking to me? Hey, LaBoss.
The boss.
So we had no choice in coming here, but now we have a choice. That part, Greta, they did not give us a choice when they abducted us, right? Unlike 90% of the immigrants, or all of the immigrants besides, all of the immigrants to the United States, we are the only group, right, that didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
For real.
Right. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. And it's time to get free by any means necessary. You can be whatever you want to be abroad, Tony. Just like they got concerts in the States, they got concerts all around the country. They've got supper clubs and blues clubs and jazz clubs and photo clubs and all of that stuff.
I think Europe is more open.
Yeah. Because back in the day,
more opportunities would be in Europe than in the States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there's less competition, first of all. There's less competition, right? And so, I mean, I can't even think about how many American musicians that I knew back in my music days that came to Europe first. They came to Europe first to get their chops, and this and that and the other, be in the clubs, do the studio thing, right? Try to make some records, this and that, and maybe do some circuits. That's what they did back in the day.
We got to have the boss back on the show.
Yeah, we do.
This young brother is doing the damn thing. He's doing the damn thing.
Right? Exactly. The upfront cost is the problem, and taxes after you move could be a problem. All right, LBW 1157. So yeah, you've got to you have to have a plan. Okay, you have to have a plan. Those folks who come and talk to us, we give them our tax person so that if they've got a situation where they think that taxes are could be a deal breaker, they can talk to someone in advance to see what they're looking at. All right. You got to make plans. If you are doing the digital nomad thing, the taxes look a lot different. All right. Because now you're not staying any place long enough to become a tax resident per se. We ain't tax folks per se. So if you have questions about this, LBW obviously has been doing their homework, but we've done 2 videos about expat taxes. Okay, we've done 2 videos about expat taxes, and the first one that we did with Katrina is the first one that you need to check out, and that's from last year. So go check it out, and it's called Expat Taxes. So you guys know the questions to ask. You need to ask your tax person in your home country, and then you need to figure out and get some references for a tax person in the place that you want to have residency. Yeah. So, I don't know that song. Is this all there is? That's a song? I remember a high school teacher played that song. Yeah, I mean, I would hate to get to be 70 years old and look around at my life and say, dang, is this all there is?
And I'm still working.
Right. And he's still working. And he doesn't need to still work. He is financially
He's
independent
just working to work
because he doesn't know what else to do with his time. Isn't it sad? It's not like it's bringing him joy, because if it were bringing him joy, he wouldn't turn around and say, is this all there is? It's just he don't know what else to do.
Yeah. And a lot of people get caught up in that.
It really is true. And I just want to say this because I realized when my dad had dementia, one of the things that never left him was work. It was so sad to hear him, even in dementia, still working. I said, Dad, how's it going? He would say, it's okay, but the crew is a little late today. They're supposed to come to do X, Y, and Z, and they haven't showed up yet, and blah, 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 whoop-de-woo. So I've got to work with the team over here. This is in dementia. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's in assisted living, talking about the crew is late. He is still working in his mind at 85, 86, 87 years old. It's sad. This is what America does. This is what America does to us. And it is not healthy. And it just can't be right. It just cannot be right. All right, let's put this back up. They sure act like they gave us a choice in coming here, though. Yeah, right? Like, they act like go back to Africa. Like, nigga, you shouldn't have brought me here in the first damn place. Sorry for using the N-word, y'all. You shouldn't have brought me here in the first damn place. And you tell me to go back? You go back. You go back to Europe.
Give me a ticket.
No, you go back to Europe. Y'all go back and we'll stay here. We and the Native Americans and the Latino will stay here and we'll create a new country.
Yeah,
y'all go back.
With the Latino and Native Americans should be telling.
Right?
Y'all get the hell out.
Right? We didn't cross the border crossed us. And yeah, we do tend to be some of the most hated. And I understand, because we're the only people on the planet with different hair, right? Different everything. And they all derived from us. They all derived from us. And they know that. They know that. And so, I don't know. What I do know is it feels nice to be on the right side of history. It feels right to have the moral high ground. And we have the moral high ground because we're not about hate. Right? Can you explain the next side hustle challenge? Yes, I can. High vibe. So the first time we did it in 5 days. And I was like, okay, that ain't enough time. So the next time we did it in 5 weeks. And that still was not enough time. 1 week for each section only worked if you had a couple of hours every day to dedicate to it, right? So if you're working 40 hours plus per week, that would have been difficult. And so one of the feedbacks was a little bit more time. And so what we're going to do this next time is we'll meet every week, but stuff will be due every other week. And that way you can ask questions in between. And so each module is a piece of the puzzle, and it is really important that you do it in order. So the first part starts off with trying to figure out an idea. What is a good idea for you and your lifestyle? Mm-hmm. And we go from there to identifying who your audience is, to brainstorming some potential value adds and the things that you could offer that would be transformative for people's lives, right? That would add value to people's lives. And then once you figure that out, then it's about what platforms, how do you launch? What's this going to look like? And what is the distribution going to be look like? And then what does the iterations look like? Okay, so that's basically all of the modules of the program. And we do it as a group and we help each other out. And when we launch this, we're probably going to go ahead and launch the Side Hustle community at the same time. No, we're going to launch the Side Hustle community at the same time. And so anybody who has been a part of the Side Hustle Challenge in the past can be a part of that community. So that is the Side Hustle Challenge. Everything that we learned to build this YouTube channel. Well, first of all, we've always had a side hustle or a business, whatever you want to call it, right? for our whole entire relationship. And this really helped us stay out of some of the debt that we could have been in, because we've always been bringing in extra money. Lord knows, because we were spending like we was going to make this amount of money forever. We were definitely spending like that. But so everything that I learned in business school, one of my jobs previously, I've had a lot of jobs, but there are two things that are relevant. One is I used to help franchisees help their businesses grow. So I worked for a franchise, and then the next job that I had where I was executive director, I helped small businesses actually strategically plan for selling their business to the employees. And you can only do that if everything is right? Like the money's got to be right. The clients have to be right. Everything's got to be right. So I would help them get their business in shape to be able to sell it to their employees. So everything that I learned doing those things, and then everything that we learned building our Black Utopia, is in this challenge.
So we built a community around each participant, so they can share ideas, and it's always good. It's always good with a village of people hearing different ideas and how to do things.
Exactly.
Come up with ideas.
Exactly.
We just don't say, okay, you got to figure out you want to do a side hustle. Well, we try to help you develop that idea too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or come up with an idea.
Yeah, and we crowdsource. So we give feedback, and then there's an opportunity for the rest of the cohort to give feedback as well. We only take up to 25 folks because we give feedback on every single piece of the program, right? Every single thing that you turn in, we give you feedback. And it's a lot of work, y'all. It's a lot of work. So we only take 25 people to be the first 25 people who sign up. And that's how we do that. There will not be scholarships available for that one at first. If at the end there's some space available, then we can talk about it. But at first there will be no scholarships available. Thank you, Lisa, who is giving to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That's our financial independence program. There is a side hustle module in the financial independence program. It is not as
robust.
Thank you. Yeah. Robust as our side hustle challenge, but all of the meat's in there. Okay. Mm-hmm. The meat is in there. We're not going to cheat you. All right. So let's get back to our last thing, and then we're going to let y'all go. All right. So what this means for Black liberation. So we've talked about the psychological freedom and safety from racism and police violence. Cause y'all, I don't think that we appreciate. This is killing us. The stress of dealing with this stuff on a daily basis is killing us. It is literally killing us. I think one of the reasons why I don't have my dad right now is because he was a Black man in America and the stress that he had to deal with. He was incredibly healthy, a very healthy eater. He never ate pork. He only drank socially. He never smoked, right? And had a very healthy eating habit. He exercised on a regular basis. He was a coach. And yet, right? How much stress? Mm-hmm. How much stress, right? We want you to have space to thrive.
Not just survive.
Exactly. So we think that part of the resistance is leaving. I think this is a political act. Taking your talents, taking your dollars, taking your joy, taking all of that knowledge, right? Elsewhere. I've been saying. The United States does not deserve all of your Black brilliance. It does not deserve it. It does not deserve it. And America really does need to feel the pain of a Black brain drain. It needs to feel the pain because they've been taking us for granted. And the people in power, they know. They know our contributions, and that's what frightens them. That's why they fired the librarian in charge of the Library of Congress, talking about there's a kids section with this and that and the other. These fools.
Inappropriate books for children in the Library of Congress.
Like it's a damn lending library.
They don't know. They don't know what the Constitution
WEI, white, entitled, and incompetent.
Right.
You're the head of Homeland Security. You are the person who is in charge of immigration. And you don't even know what due process is or habeas corpus. You don't even know. And full-chested. Well, that is when the president gets to decide who can do what. And the president don't get to decide shit, except for who's in his cabinet, who's in her cabinet. That's all they get to decide. That's what I don't think Americans understand. The president was never supposed to be a decision maker per se, besides foreign affairs. Really, domestically, they were supposed to be a visionary. And then the legislature were supposed to decide how to make that vision happen. But some people think that the president's supposed to be magic, like the magic Negro. So, all right. If you're going to leave, be intentional. If you're going to stay, be intentional. If you're choosing to stay, understand your why. Don't stay because you're afraid. Don't leave because you're afraid necessarily, right? Like that can be one of the things, but that shouldn't be the only thing for either decision, right? Fear should never be the only reason. Now, look, if I see danger, I'm going to say run. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, to save your life.
There is nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And when I look at what's happening in America right now, I see danger. I see danger. And I know that's why, September, Lord have mercy. If things do not change, it is only a matter of time before it is no longer Latino looking people and it starts to be Haitian looking people. I think the only reason they haven't done that is because they can't tell the difference between us. They can't tell the difference between the Africans, the recent African immigrants and us, and islanders and us. And sometimes I can't tell the difference between islanders, but I can always tell the difference between Africans, right? They can't tell the difference. And I can't even imagine the global heat that they would get when they start trying to round up African Americans, right? Black Americans, right? Y'all done stole us. Now you try. Please. When we say we are not our ancestors, really?
What?
I'm going to tell on him. He was texting during our live stream.
I had to.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Really? No, you didn't.
Quick text.
No. Mm-mm. He could have waited. See that? See? Demetrius, if you watching, you gotta wait until the live is over. That's what you got to do. All right. So call to action. What are we doing? If you want to have a community, to do this thing, because it feels like your family is not and your friends are not on board with this, right? Join our Black Utopia community. We have Fire Over 50 in our Facebook page, right? Become a member of this channel. If you believe that the information that we impart is valuable, if you think that this is something that needs to continue, because I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be anything but a word for the melon felon to start calling up the Google people, talking about we need to get so and so and so and so and so and so, or we don't want no DEI on YouTube.
Right. And
right?
You know that's coming.
Right? It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. If you are moving and you're going to depend on Social Security, make sure that the country that you're going to is friends with the United States, y'all. Or keep your money in the United States, have them put it in your United States bank, and then transfer chunks at a time. Remember about the digital nomad visa options, okay? If you do not qualify right now for financial solvency for some of these visas, a digital nomad visa and or just bopping around on tourist visa could be your answer, okay? You don't need to necessarily go the formal route and do a digital nomad visa. If you want to bop around, there are places where you can stay a year, 2 years, 6 months, 3 months. Okay. Put your stuff in grandma's garage, sublease your house, get out of Dodge. Try living abroad for like 90 days. Yeah. See if you can take, your PTO, some mental health leave, et cetera, et cetera. Go look to see what's going on.
Yeah, give yourself a break.
Options. Right? All right. So what I want to know is, if you've made it this far, what is your biggest concern about moving abroad? If you're watching from the future, let us know in the comments. What is your biggest concern about moving abroad? Yeah. And then if you are a Utopian legend, we want to know, let us know if you want to come on air this Thursday and chat with us.
This Thursday, y'all.
This Thursday.
Come on.
And chat with us about what's going on in the world financially and with life abroad. All right. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about, and then we'll let you go. Let's see. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Into the bottom. Thank you, Francine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate that, and we appreciate the fact that you are a member. It is our members who are going to help us make sure that we can continue doing this, y'all, because I don't know what these people are doing. I don't know what these people are doing.
Join us, become members, become Utopians and Utopian legends.
Yes.
Please join us.
Action VJ put the channel membership information in the chat, y'all. Our ancestors would not approve of the Republicans nor the Democrats. They are different sides of the same coin, all things pertaining. No, they're not different sides of the same coin, though they do have a lot of the same problems. There is corruption on both sides. I will say yes. Both of them have too much corporate influence. Yes. But one side still believes that you should follow the laws of the land. One side still believes that people should have due process. One side still believes that when a court gives an order, you damn well better follow it. Right? One side still believes in the Constitution. So at this point, I'm just trying not to go into 100% fascism as opposed to 50% fascism, which is where we're at now. And the only reason I care, besides the fact that our family is there and some of our investments, is because it's going to affect the rest of the world.
In a negative way.
Negatively. Indeed. Should folks with tight budgets move to Canada? No. Could we say that faster? They are Columbia U teachers moving to Toronto. I mean, if they've got a job, then that's different. If they're going to go up there and teach and be professors or something like that, then that's different.
Yeah, but, or if you get a remote job that will let you live in Canada.
Right. Canada's expensive. Canada is just as or more expensive than the United States, except for the fact that they've got healthcare.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when McCain and Palin were running, Rick and I were looking at Canada. We're like, okay, this twins with her dumb ass, right? Talking about, I'm a hockey mom and the real Americans. She's the one who they allowed to start this bull crap where you could be that wasn't even a dog whistle, right? That was a bullhorn. We knew what they meant by the real Americans, right? Right? And they allowed it, and they didn't call her on it, and they didn't say that was unpatriotic and that it's somebody running to be the vice president, a hair's breadth away from the presidency, should not be splitting people up. Nobody called her on it. The media didn't call her on it, and now here we friggin' are because they didn't do their damn jobs, and neither did we. So we were looking at Canada, and back in those days, if you had a master's degree, you only needed to have $10,000 in savings to get residency in Canada. And so yeah, we were looking at it. But then I started looking at the housing prices and stuff like that. And I was like, well, shoot, these people, wait, what's the exchange rate? What are we talking about here? Because this looks expensive. It's
Canada's
expensive.
beautiful, and it has beautiful places,
and beautiful people.
But
it's expensive.
Have a plan. If you do, you got to have a plan. You got to make sure that that's what you are looking for to work for you.
Yes. So we want to thank new members. High Vibe. Thank you for joining High Vibe.
Thank you.
And live your life. Thank you. All right, let's see. Did I get through all of the comments? I think I did. TD Carter. Remember, that reminded me of TK Carter.
I agree. Say, yeah.
We're in full on authoritarian headed to dictate. Yes, we are, Antonia. Yeah. You are absolutely right. And why people don't realize this, right, Greta? Why people don't realize it is beyond me. And they think that we're fear mongering. They think that folks have been in our chat talking about we're fear mongering and this and that and the other since before November. Now I see that some of the people that we saw back then saying that we didn't know what we were talking about and that we were just fear mongering, they don't come around no more. They ain't saying nothing. They silent. Because everything that we said was going to happen is happening. We wanted to be wrong.
Yeah.
We wanted to be wrong.
Not at all.
But what can we do? Yes, even going for 90 days abroad will give us a chance to think clearly, right? Seriously, y'all. Clear your mind. Starting a new job, so may not be on Thursday, but you might get to see the hubby. Okay. All right. Well, so what we do is we post the link to Backstage. We post it on YouTube, so only the members can see it. So you'll have the link. And will there be a charter bus to take folks to Tuesday, June 17th, Evora all day? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Bobby, with wine tastings. Yes.
And you can sit right next to me.
So our meetup on June 16th and 17th. June 16th is going to be at the Black-owned Soul Kitchen and Bar. Fernando is the owner there. And then on Tuesday, we're doing a custom-made trip just for us down to Evora. I think I did the... Yeah. Okay. Down to Evora. We've got 2 buses right now. So we've got almost 100 people. So we've got 2 buses that will pick us up near downtown, which the yellow square that y'all have seen for Lisbon, that, yellow plaza, right? They'll just behind there, maybe a street or 2 behind that plaza is the pickup point. And so, yeah, we've got 2 buses that will take us down to Evora, give us our custom tour, just us, and the winery tour and all of that, and then bring us back to Lisbon. Okay. So that is what we're doing for our meetup this year. And I'm really, really excited about it. What is a utopian legend? Marilyn, thank you for that. Thank you for the question. So we started our membership program about 3 weeks ago. Actually, because YouTube asked us to do it. So we started our membership program, and that's one of the reasons. But another reason was because of the weird stuff that the Melon Felon is doing, and making sure that we can keep coming to you, bringing you value. So every utopian actually gets, they get priority when it comes to the chat. And then every utopian every Sunday gets to hang out with us before we go live. Backstage as we're getting ready, and just chitty chat with us. And then the legends, that's the higher level, they get to come on air with us every other Thursday and interview us, chat, etc., whatever, So we're going to talk every other Thursday with our legends and get their opinions on things and answer questions and stuff like that.
And as we go along, we'll be having more different perks.
We'll be adding perks.
We'll be constantly adding perks and stuff like that.
My biggest concern is not being able to pay rent. Yeah, right. That's all of our biggest concern is being unhoused, right? And so, that's why it was really important for me, for us to find a place that was below what we could afford. Right. And one of the biggest things that I gave up was a bathtub. I'm going to tell y'all. I missed the soaking. I gave up a bathtub. But I would rather be free and not having to work for somebody else, living in Lisbon, Portugal, than be back in our house in Denver, working 70 hours and having 3 bathtubs at my disposal.
Right? You had plenty of bathtubs.
I had plenty of bathtubs, right? Finding a place that is sage racially and religiously as well. Yeah, so a lot of places, y'all, do not, like, okay, racism is global.
Yeah.
Anti-Blackness is global. Okay, I'm going to start there. But racism is not lethal everywhere. Racism in America is lethal. It can get you unalived, right? That is not necessarily the case in other places. Like here in Portugal, for instance, it's really, 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 really hard to get a gun. Now, according to our Portuguese acquaintances, there's a few, Brazilian gangs that have come here. And so we've heard about 2 gun incidents in the past 3 years. I know, right? You want to say that's precious, right? Yeah. But still, here that's really serious. I'm not going to say that it's not serious, but in comparison, there isn't, right? There is no comparison. Mm-hmm. There definitely isn't. All right, y'all. I think we have done it. So is it time? Is it time to leave Trump's America? Understanding what they just did with that ugly, audacious bill, right? Sneaking in the fact that he would be able to just
do what he wants to do
and not pay attention to court orders. Okay. It's already bad enough that the Supreme Court had already given him immunity on some things. And now we're going to do something where it's retroactive. And since January 20th, whatever court order came out, he can just say, dismiss it. That's crazy. $700 billion from Medicaid. They're throwing grandma into the streets. And for those of us who are in the sandwich generation, where we still have, adult kids in our pocket, young adult kids in our pocket, and we've got our parents in our pocket, or at least taking up time and space with us having to help take care of them, maybe manage their finances, et cetera, right? And they want to kick grandma to the curb. Really? This is the greatest country on earth. This is the richest country in the world. They're taking food out of little Billy's mouth and increasing childhood poverty so that Elon Musk can go to Mars again. That's what they're doing. They're making sure that the Elon Musks of the world don't have to worry about those pesky little regulations. Just dump all your crap into our water. Put all your crap into our air so we can't breathe and we can't drink clean water. That's what they're doing.
Jeff Bezos can act like he's going to outer space.
Right.
And take Gail King and everybody else with him.
Right. So they can take joyride.
So they could be astronauts or nuts.
So we have to have millions of kids or hundreds of thousands of kids go to bed hungry so that they can take joy rides up into space. This is who we are.
That's important.
And these people call themselves Christian. I'm telling you, they're going to show up and Jesus is going to say, I don't know you. I don't know you. I do not know you. Because what you do for the least of mine, right? Right? Isn't that what the word says? Isn't that what the word says? White Real Bro heading to Cartagena tomorrow for a week, and then Thailand in September, traveling until retirement.
Wow.
Good for you. And thank you for donating to our scholarship fund. We really, really appreciate it. And we are so happy for you. So when you join, there should be a join button. It's a little bit more difficult on an iOS, on a phone
iPhone
or a tablet. But underneath the icon, there's a join button. And sometimes in the chat, underneath the chat, there's a join button. And once you hit join, then it will give you whether you want to do the $3.99 a month or the $9.99 a month. I think that's what it is. So that's how you do that, Marilyn. All right. And so we're going to let y'all go. We thank you all so much for hanging out with us for a little bit on Sunday, the day before Memorial Day. For those of you who are coming here to Portugal, we're probably going to do some kind of YouTube or not YouTube, but Zoom or something to answer any questions that you all have. For some of you, this may be your first international trip ever. And we want you to have a good experience. Now, we're not tour guides or concierges or any of that. We ain't trying to do all that. Okay? We ain't trying to do all that.
We don't give you wake-up calls in the morning and tell you to be there and be here. And
no. If you're coming to the meetup and you have not received an email from us and you didn't just buy your ticket in the last day or two, check the email that you use for PayPal. And then check the junk mail for that email address. Okay. For those of you who have more than one email address, a lot of you use a separate email address for your PayPal. And then when I see you guys in your email address in our newsletter subscription, it's a different email address. All right. So make sure that you know which email address. You should have gotten something that gives you a lot of information, access to the WhatsApp group, and then you've already missed the opportunity to get the meetup t-shirt and all of that stuff, the tote bag and stuff like that. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And so check your email, send us an email if you've bought a ticket, not in the last couple of days, but like, a week ago or so, and you haven't received anything from us, because you should have. All right. So let us know. And with that, if you have any more questions, if you need help moving abroad, if you need help getting out of Dodge, and you don't want to wait till the side hustle challenge or something like that, we have one-on-one coaching. Information can be found in the description below. Yes. We have a 5-bundle deal where you can do 5 sessions with us if you're trying to get your business off the ground and you don't want to wait and you want private coaching. We offer that. If you need help getting your money straight, if you need help putting your Move Abroad plan together, you can get one-on-one coaching, or you can get our Move Abroad toolkit, which is in the description below. And if you lasted this long, drop a heart in the chat. Drop a heart in the comments. Let us know that you love our content. Hit that like button.
Thumbs up.
Right? Smash that like button. And we will see you on Thursday with our legends. Bye.